A very good morning and thanks for tuning in to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha Television, your one-stop morning show for top stories from India and across the globe. I'm Aishwarya and here are the headlines. Madhya Pradesh and Mizoram all set for assembly elections on Wednesday. Chief electoral officers say state machinery fully prepared for free and fair polls, voting for 230 seats in Madhya Pradesh, 40 in Mizoram. Campaigning gains momentum in Telangana and Rajasthan for 7th of December elections. Prime Minister Modi to address two rallies in Telangana. Arun Jaitley to release BJP's election manifesto for Rajasthan. Congress President campaigns in the state. Ibrahim Solih to make his first foreign visit as new Maldivian president to India on 17th of December. Visit to strengthen bilateral ties. Visiting Maldivian foreign minister to call on President Rajnath Singh today. NASA's InSight mission lands on Mars. Touchdown after 7 months of travel through space, sends first picture of Martian surface. Mission to study interiors of the red planet. And Kalinga Stadium in Bhubaneswar geared up for the opening ceremony of the hockey's Men's World Cup tournament. 16 teams are participating in the 14th edition of the tournament. India to play South Africa in the first match on Wednesday. First up, let's get you all the action from the 5 election-bound states. The stage is set for polls to the two states of Madhya Pradesh and Mizoram tomorrow. Election campaigning ended on Monday for Madhya Pradesh assembly polls, where star campaigners of the BJP, the Congress and other parties addressed a series of rallies to stake claim for the 230 assembly seat. In the last assembly polls, the BJP had won 165 seats, the Congress had 158, the BSP 4 and Independents 3. Around 1,80,000 security personnel, including officials of the state police, central paramilitary forces and home guards, will be deployed to ensure smooth elections. The poll body had prohibited the formation of a convoy of more than 10 vehicles.
1,80,000 पुलिस बल तैनात है, जो प्रदेश का 80,000 और 1 लाख बाहर से जो आए हैं. उसके अलावा हमारे 3 लाख कर्मचारी सभी पोलिंग बूथ पर पीठासीन अधिकारी, पोलिंग अधिकारी के रूप में तैनात किए गए हैं, जिसमें 45,000 महिला कर्मचारी हैं. 3 लाख में से 45,000 महिला कर्मचारी हैं और 2000 लगभग 2000 मतदान केंद्र ऐसे हैं जो पूर्णतः महिला कर्मचारियों के द्वारा संचालित किए जाएंगे. 160 मतदान केंद्र ऐसे हैं जो पूर्णतः दिव्यांग कर्मचारी, जो दिव्यांग पोलिंग पर्सनल हैं, उनके द्वारा संचालित किया जाएगा. 12,000 ऐसे केंद्र शासन के कर्मचारी तैनात हैं जो माइक्रो ऑब्जर्वर के रूप में वहाँ काम करेंगे. जो जिलों में निर्वाचन क्षेत्र में जो ऑब्जर्वर्स आए हैं, उन ऑब्जर्वर्स ने इनका ट्रेनिंग करके, इनका सेलेक्ट करके, उन ऑब्जर्वर ने इनको तैनात करने के लिए निर्देश दिए हैं. जो मतदाता वो देख नहीं सकते हैं, उनके लिए हमने उनका जो वोटर स्लिप है, उस वोटर स्लिप के पीछे हमने ब्रेल लिपि में भी हमने उनको ये एपिक कार्ड दिया है और वोटर स्लिप दिया है. तो उनके लिए बहुत आसान है कि अपना वोटर कार्ड वो ब्रेल में पढ़ सकेंगे. तो ये वीवीपैट में जो पर्ची निकलेगा वो सिर्फ उसी मतदाता को दिखेगा और किसी को नहीं दिखेगा. ये 100% इसमें गोपनीयता है.
And in Mizoram too, campaigning for elections to the 40-member Mizoram Assembly ended on Monday evening, setting the stage for polling on Wednesday. More than 7 lakh voters will exercise their franchise on 28th of November, sealing the fate of 209 candidates. Akhilesh Suman brings us this report.
The Mizoram election machinery is fully prepared to conduct elections to the 40-member Assembly on Wednesday. Polling will be held in the state in a single phase on 28 November from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. A total of 209 candidates are in the fray, whose fate would be decided by 7,70,395 voters. These include 3,94,897 women. The electorate will cast their votes at 1,164 polling stations where EVMs would be used. Preparations have been made for 12,026 brews lodged in 6 relief camps of Tripura to cast their votes at Kanmun village in Mamit district, where 15 temporary polling stations have been set up. Preparations have also been made for facilitating differently able people with ramps and wheelchairs.
The election machinery is geared up to deliver a free, fair and peaceful election. There are certain assured minimum facilities to be provided to polling stations, which include electricity, water and toilets and the ramps for the physically challenged. This time we are having 1 polling station in each assembly constituency, which has been declared as an all-woman police station. And in Mizo it is being called Dingdi, which is a flower, it's a typical flower of Mizoram.
Although women voters outnumber their male counterparts, there are only 15 women candidates in the fray. The BJP has fielded the highest number of 6 women candidates. The Zoram Thar has nominated 5. The Zoram People's Movement has given tickets to 2 women, while the Congress and NCP have fielded 1 woman candidate each. In Mizoram, the Congress has been in power since 2008 and is eyeing a 3rd consecutive term. In the 2013 elections, the Congress had won 34 seats, while the MNF got 5 and the Mizoram People's Conference 1. This time, both Congress and MNF are contesting all the 40 constituencies, while the BJP has fielded 39 candidates.
Mizoram has very interesting location. It touches international boundaries at Myanmar and Bangladesh. It also touches a state boundary in Assam, Tripura and Manipur. Normally, it could have been very challenging, but since the voters in this state are very peaceful and there had been no record of violence till now, so it is understood that interesting thing will be to see what is the percentage of voter turnout. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha television with camera person Sudhanshu in Aizawl of Mizoram.
And Prime Minister Modi will be campaigning in Telangana today. Voting for the 119-member State Assembly will be held on 7th of December. The Prime Minister will address 2 public meetings today. One will be held in Nizamabad and the other at Mehbubnagar. The next Monday, the Prime Minister will address a rally in Hyderabad. Party Chief Amit Shah had on Sunday undertaken a whirlwind tour of the state and he addressed 4 public meetings. He will again address meetings on Wednesday and on Sunday. The Bharatiya Janata Party has fielded 118 candidates in the polls. An electioneering has intensified in Rajasthan, with all political parties campaigning extensively across the state. Prime Minister Modi addressed a series of rallies in the poll-bound state. At a rally in Kota, the Prime Minister said that after coming to power, the BJP has stopped the loot that was being carried out under the Congress rule. Urging people to exercise their right to franchise, he said one vote doesn't enthrone a political party or an individual, but it gives power to change the country and shape its future.
50-55 साल में 11 मेडिकल कॉलेज और वसुंधरा जी ने 5 साल में राजस्थान में 11 नई मेडिकल कॉलेज बना दी। अगर कांग्रेस में वोट जाता आपका तो 11 मेडिकल कॉलेज के लिए और 55 साल इंतजार करता। ये वसुंधरा जी ने 55 साल राजस्थान को आगे ले जाने का काम किया, आपके एक वोट से किया है भाइयों। ये आपके वोट की ताकत है।
And in Rajasthan, the BJP will release its election manifesto today. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will release the party's Sankalp Patra. Polling for the 200-member state assembly will take place on 7th of December. Party President Amit Shah is slated to address multiple rallies in the state today. His rallies are slated to be held in Jalore, Sirohi, Pali and in Udaipur. And Congress President Rahul Gandhi was on a tour of poll-bound Rajasthan on Monday and speaking at an election rally in Jaisalmer district's Pokhran constituency, he promised to waive farm loans in 10 days if voted to power in the state. Rahul Gandhi also said that the Congress Chief Minister will work for 18 hours a day to help youth get jobs. He said that he will speak only the truth and will not make any promise which cannot be fulfilled. The party's election manifesto for the state is likely to be released on Wednesday.
और चुनाव के होने के बाद कांग्रेस पार्टी की सरकार के बनने के बाद 10 दिन के अंदर राजस्थान के किसान का कांग्रेस पार्टी कर्जा माफ कर देगी। दुनिया की कोई भी शक्ति इस बात को नहीं बदल सकती है।
Home Minister Rajnath Singh also campaigned in Rajasthan on Monday. He campaigned in Jaipur and in Dholpur. He accused the Congress leaders of creating a trust deficit in the country's politics and said it is the BJP government which works for the development of the people. He said security is very important for the development of the country and the troops of the Indian Army and paramilitary forces are protecting the nation without caring for their lives. He said Indian forces are giving befitting replies to terrorists and there will be no compromise on nation's security. And according to a PTI report, Sunil Arora is learned to have been appointed as the next Chief Election Commissioner. PTI is quoting highly placed sources saying that formal notification announcing his appointment is yet to be issued, but his name has been cleared by the centre and sent to Rashtrapati Bhavan. Besides the Lok Sabha polls, assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir, Odisha, Maharashtra, Haryana, Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim are scheduled to be held next year. A former bureaucrat, Arora was appointed as Election Commissioner on 31st of August 2017. He succeeds O.P. Rawat. And polling for the fourth phase of panchayat polls in Jammu and Kashmir began a short while ago. 35 blocks, including 19 in 8 divisions of Jammu division and 16 of the Kashmir Valley, are voting today. Polling is being held at 2,618 polling stations across the state out of 639 polling stations in Kashmir and 1,979 polling booths are set up in Jammu. 777 polling stations have been considered as hypersensitive in the fourth phase, including 571 in Kashmir and 206 in Jammu. And more than 5,000 candidates were in the fray for 339 Sarpanch and 1,749 Panch seats in the fourth phase, while 99 Sarpanch and 969 Panch have been elected unopposed. And right now, we'll slip into a very short break. News and updates continue on the other side as well. Stay tuned.
Enter the majestic forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan and you'll come across the Jaipur column. A gift to the Viceroy from Sahib Madhya Singh, the Maharaja of Jaipur, to commemorate the creation of the new capital. The 145-meter high column is crowned with 6 pointed crystal stars on a bronze lotus, and inside the stone shaft runs a steel tube which weighs a little more than 5 tons. The base of the column has text conceived by Lord Irwin and Sir Edwin Lutyens inscribed on it.
Thanks for staying with us. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Punjab Chief Minister Amarinder Singh on Monday laid the foundation stone for the Kartarpur Sahib corridor on the Indian side in Gurdaspur in Punjab. The corridor will let Sikh pilgrims visit the iconic Gurudwara Darbar Sahib at Kartarpur in Pakistan.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu and Punjab Chief Minister Amarinder Singh on Monday laid the foundation stone for the Kartarpur Sahib corridor. The groundbreaking ceremony took place at village Man in the Gurdaspur district of Punjab near the India-Pakistan border. It will facilitate easy passage for Sikh pilgrims to the historic Gurdwara Darbar Sahib in Pakistan. The 4-lane highway corridor will have all modern facilities and amenities. Addressing the gathering, Naidu said it has been a long pending demand that Indian Sikh pilgrims should be able to visit Kartarpur site with ease.
Demand for setting up a corridor has been raised and discussed for nearly 2 decades or more. This dream, which was pending for many years, is getting fulfilled today. It is a day like no other day. It is truly path-breaking, potentially transformative movement.
मैं धन्यवादी है साडे प्राइम मिनिस्टर साहब दा जिन्हां ने ये गल पूरी कीती है.
Union Minister Nitin Gadkari said the construction of the corridor will be completed within 4 months. Union Ministers Harsimrat Kaur Badal, Hardeep Singh Puri and Vijay Sampla were also present at the event.
करतारपुर साहिब कॉरिडोर में तीर्थयात्रियों के लिए हमने विशेष आर्किटेक्ट को अपॉइंट करके वहां विशेष प्रकार की रोड साइड एमिनिटीज जिसको तीर्थयात्रियों के लिए विशेष सुविधा केंद्र बनाने का निर्णय किया है, जिससे दूर दूर आने वाले हमारे सभी भक्तों के लिए काफी अच्छी व्यवस्था होगी. करतारपुर साहिब कॉरिडोर के निर्माण से पंजाब में पर्यटन को भी बढ़ावा मिलेगा. इससे राज्य के आर्थिक विकास को भी मदद मिलेगी.
ਇਹ ਨੀਂਹ ਪੱਥਰ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਉਸ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਤੇ ਤਾਕਤ ਦੀ ਸ਼ਕਤੀ ਦਾ ਸਬੂਤ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਰਚਿਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ।
The Union Cabinet decided to build the passage from Dera Baba Nanak in Gurdaspur district to the international border on November 22nd. The Kartarpur Sahib Gurdwara is on the banks of the Ravi River, about 3 to 4 kilometers from the Pakistan border. Presently, Sikh pilgrims have to go through long visa processes to reach Gurdwara via Wagah border alone. Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan will inaugurate the groundbreaking ceremony of the Kartarpur corridor on the Pakistani side on November 28th. Union Ministers Harsimrat Kaur Badal, Hardeep S. Puri and Congress leader Navjot Singh Sidhu will travel to Pakistan to attend the event on Wednesday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And speaking at the foundation-laying event, Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amarinder Singh warned Pakistan to stop anti-terror activities against India. Singh said that Pakistan must not provoke India with attacks on the country, as India has a large army and is prepared. He asserted that India wants peace, and that is the message that the country is giving through the Kartarpur corridor, but it also has a huge army to tackle any threat at the same time. Singh has turned down Pakistan's invitation to participate in the inauguration of Kartarpur corridor on the Pakistani side due to cross-border terrorism and attacks in Punjab.
ਅਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਮੁਲਕ ਹੈ ਸਾਡਾ ਔਰ ਅੱਜ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਦਾ ਪੈਗਾਮ ਹੈ. ਅੱਜ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੰਬਈ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅੱਜ 10ਵੇਂ ਸਾਲ ਪੂਰੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, 10ਵੇਂ ਸਾਲ ਜਦੋਂ ਹੋਟਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਕਈ ਹੋਟਲਾਂ 'ਚ ਉੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਹਮਲਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ. ਕੀ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ? ਕੋਈ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਮਾਰਤੀਆਂ, ਕੋਈ ਬੱਚੇ ਮਾਰਤੇ, ਕੋਈ ਨਿਰਦੋਸ਼ ਮਾਰਤੇ. ਕੀ ਖਾ ਲਿਆ ਆਪਾਂ? ਬਹਾਦਰੀ ਕਰ ਲਈ. ਇਹ ਬੁਜ਼ਦਿਲਪਨ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਇਹ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਜਰਨੈਲਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੀ ਫੌਜ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਤਿਆਰੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਹੈ. ਤਾਂ ਹੱਦ ਤੱਕ ਕੁਝ ਹੱਦ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਤੱਕ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ. ਤੇ बार बार अगर तुम करोगे फिर हिंदुस्तान भी सोचने लग जाएगा.
News from Jammu and Kashmir, where encounters have broken out between security forces and militants in the state. An encounter is underway at a Hafu area of Tral in Pulwama. The area has now been cordoned off. Earlier, an encounter also broke out between security forces and terrorists in Redwani area of Kulgam. And on the 10th anniversary of the Mumbai terrorist attack on Monday, US President Donald Trump said that the United States is standing along with the people of India in their quest for justice. The United States on Monday announced a reward of $5 million for information on the perpetrators of the attack. Remember, 166 people had died in the attack, including 28 foreigners from 10 countries. Meanwhile, Israel too has called upon Pakistan to ensure full justice to the 26/11 terror attack victims. And on to some other news. The Human Resource Development Ministry has issued fresh directives to the states and union territories across the country on prescribed weight limit of school bags. Now, according to the directive, there will be no homework for students of classes 1 and 2. The weight of school bags for students of class 1 and 2 should not exceed 1.5 kilogram, while the school bag of students of class 3 to class 5 should weigh between 2 kgs to 3 kgs. The directive also says that students should not be asked to bring additional books and extra materials to school. The government has granted CBI sanction for the prosecution of a senior Congress leader in the Aircel Maxis case. During the hearing at the Patiala House Court, Additional Solicitor General Tushar Mehta told the court that they have received sanctions to prosecute Chidambaram. Chidambaram and his son Karti have been charged with the money laundering in the Aircel Maxis case under the sections of Prevention of Money Laundering Act by the Enforcement Directorate. The Patiala House Court further extended the protection from arrest to Chidambaram and his son Karti till 18th of December. It also granted 3 weeks to the CBI to get sanctions against some other people who are also accused in the case. The case will now be heard on 18th of December. And visiting Maldivian Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid will meet President Rajnath Singh today. Abdullah Shahid held bilateral talks with External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj on Monday, where they discussed ways to deepen bilateral cooperation and ensure peace and security in the region. Shahid's visit comes ahead of the visit of the newly elected Maldives President Ibrahim Mohammed Solih, who will be visiting India on 17th of December. Now, it will be Solih's first foreign visit after assuming charge as the president earlier this month. The visit assumes significance as ties between the two countries had severely strained under the previous government in the island nation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, remember, had attended the swearing-in ceremony of Maldivian President Ibrahim Mohammed Solih on 17th of November in Mali. India-Maldives ties had deteriorated significantly under former President Abdullah Yameen, who was perceived to be close to China.
India is our best friend. India has been there for us at all hours of need, be it in 1988 when there was a terrorist mercenary attack to the Maldives, or be it the tsunami when the entire country was inundated. Your naval ships steamed off into the Indian Ocean territories. At the same time, you had your naval ships steam into Maldivian archipelago with the required assistance. In the more recent past, we have had the water crisis in Mali. It was India who airlifted the required water for us. And because of the geographic proximity and because of the manner in which both our countries have from time immemorial built this brotherly relationship, we know and we trust that India would be there for us.
And British Prime Minister Theresa May pitched her Brexit deal to Parliament on Monday, saying that the deal will ensure a smooth and orderly departure from the EU in March of next year. After reaching a divorce deal on Sunday, May is now seeking to win over critics in her own Conservatives and opposition parties who have threatened to vote against it when Parliament is asked to approve the agreement. Now, insisting that the agreement delivered for the British people by regaining control of laws, money and borders, May said it would be put to an MP's vote on 11th of December. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump said on Monday that the agreement allowing the UK to leave the EU may make trade between Washington and London more difficult. He also told reporters outside the White House that the deal sounded like it would be good for the European Union, but he expressed concern about where the deal left the trade between the UK and the United States.
I would like to make a statement on the conclusion of our negotiations to leave the European Union. At yesterday's Special European Council in Brussels, I reached a deal with the leaders of the other 27 EU member states on a withdrawal agreement that will ensure our smooth and orderly departure on the 29th of March next year, and tied to this agreement a political declaration on an ambitious future partnership that is in our national interest. Mr. Speaker, this is the right deal for Britain because it delivers on the democratic decision of the British people.
And the Ukraine has declared martial law in parts of the country after Sunday's capture of 3 of its naval vessels and 23 crew members by Russia. Lawmakers backed President Petro Poroshenko's request to introduce it in regions mostly bordering Russia for 30 days starting from 28th of November. The authorities can now restrict public rallies and regulate the media. Sunday's naval clash was off the coast of Crimea, annexed by Russia in 2014. Russian Coast Guard ships opened fire before special forces stormed the Ukrainian vessels. Between 3 and 6 Ukrainians were injured. Now, Ukraine said that it was a Russian act of aggression. Moscow, however, said that the ships had illegally entered its waters. A number of Western countries condemned Russia's actions. Meanwhile, in New York, the United Nations Security Council met to discuss the crisis, but failed to agree a Russian proposed agenda amid sharp disagreements between Moscow and the West. Nikki Haley, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, accused Russia of taking outlaw actions against Ukrainian ships and vowed that sanctions punishing Russia's annexation of Crimea would continue.
Sunday's outrageous violation of sovereign Ukrainian territory is part of a pattern of Russian behavior that includes the purported annexation of Crimea and abuses against countless Ukrainians in Crimea, as well as stoking conflict that has taken the lives of more than 10,000 people in eastern Ukraine. And it shows no sign of decreasing.
And the U.S. space agency NASA has landed a new robot on Mars to begin its 2-year mission as the first spacecraft designed to explore the deep interiors of another world. The landing capped a 6-month journey of 548 million kilometers from Earth following InSight's launch from California in the month of May. The InSight probe aims to study the world's deep interior and make it the only planet apart from Earth that has been examined in this way. The confirmation of a touchdown came after a dramatic 7-minute plunge to the surface of the red planet. The landing data and first image were relayed to the Earth from one of the 2 miniature satellites that were launched along with InSight. NASA's mission control at the California Jet Propulsion Laboratory erupted into cheers when it became clear that InSight was safe on the ground. InSight will spend 24 months, that is about 1 Martian year, collecting a wealth of data to unlock mysteries about how Mars formed and, by extension, the origins of the Earth and other rocky planets of the solar system. US President Donald Trump rang to offer his congratulations. And sports news now. The 14th edition of the Men's Hockey World Cup will kickstart with a glittering opening ceremony today at the Kalinga Stadium in Bhubaneswar. And world's top 16 teams, including defending champions Australia, Olympic champions Argentina, India, New Zealand and Pakistan, will compete in the 19-day tournament. Director General of Police reviewed the security arrangements. More than 300 police officials will be on duty, and there will be more than 50 police officers below the rank of the Deputy Superintendent of Police and various supervisory roles. Bollywood stars including Madhuri Dixit Nene, Shah Rukh Khan and Salman Khan are expected to be present and perform at the inaugural ceremony. And in the opening matches, India will face South Africa while Belgium will take on Canada on Wednesday. And that's the wrap on this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead.